Hello everyone. I hope you enjoyed part 1. In part 1, we are introduced to Mark, who is still struggling to come to terms with the death of his wife. He discovers a locked room in his attic and becomes obsessed with uncovering its secrets. Despite his best efforts, he is unable to open the door until he hires a specialist. However, the discovery he makes inside the room leaves him feeling disturbed and unsettled. Now, the locked room part 2. One night, Mark was lying in bed, too afraid to sleep, when he heard a loud banging coming from the attic. It sounded like someone was trying to break down the lock. Mark's heart raced as he slowly made his way up the stairs to the attic. He could hear the banging getting louder and more frantic with each step. He was terrified of what he might find, but he couldn't ignore the possibility that someone or something was in the locked room. When he reached the top of the stairs, he could see that the door to the locked room was wide open. It was pitch black inside, and he could hear heavy breathing and shuffling sounds coming from within. He hesitated for a moment, then slowly stepped inside. As his eyes adjusted to the darkness, he could see a figure hunched over in the corner of the room. It was a woman, dressed in tattered clothing, with wild hair and pale skin. She was rocking back and forth, muttering to herself incoherently. Mark's heart sank as he realized that this was no ordinary intruder. He recognized the woman from the photos he had seen at the police station. She was the previous owner of the house, who had disappeared without a trace several years ago. Her family had assumed she had run away, but Mark now knew that she had been trapped in the locked room all along. Mark approached the woman cautiously, trying to calm her down. She looked up at him with wide, crazed eyes, then lunged at him with surprising strength. Mark stumbled back, trying to fend her off, but she was too quick and too strong. As they grappled on the floor, Mark's hand brushed against something cold and metallic. It was a key, lying on the ground next to him. With a surge of hope, he grabbed the key and fumbled with the lock on the door. Finally, with a satisfying click, the door swung shut. The woman's screams echoed through the house as Mark locked her back in the room. He collapsed onto the floor, gasping for breath, and called the police. It took several hours for the police to arrive, and Mark spent the time pacing back and forth, his mind racing with questions and fears. When the police finally arrived, they broke down the door and took the woman away for medical treatment. In the days that followed, Mark struggled to come to terms with what had happened. He couldn't shake the feeling that the locked room was somehow cursed, that it held some kind of dark energy that had infected his life. He decided to sell the house and move away, hoping to start fresh somewhere else. But even as he drove away from the house for the last time, he couldn't help but glance back at the attic window, where the locked room lay hidden. He knew that he would never forget the terror and madness that had taken hold of him in that room, and that he would carry the memory with him for the rest of his life. Mark had finally left the house behind, but the experience had left him changed forever. He struggled with anxiety and nightmares, reliving the events in the locked room over and over again. Months passed, and Mark tried to move on with his life. He had found a new home in a quiet town, far away from the cursed house and its haunted memories. He started seeing a therapist, hoping to find some peace of mind. One day, as he was walking down the street, he heard a voice calling his name. He turned around and saw a woman approaching him, her face obscured by the hood of her jacket. "Mark, it's me," the woman said. "I need to talk to you." Mark's heart pounded in his chest as he recognized the voice. It was the woman from the locked room, the one he had locked away in the attic. "How did you find me?" Mark asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "I've been following you," the woman said. "I need your help." Mark felt a surge of fear and anger. He had done everything he could to forget about the locked room and the woman who had haunted it. He didn't want to be dragged back into that nightmare. "What do you want from me?" Mark asked, his voice shaking. "I need you to help me find the key," the woman said. "The one you used to lock me away." Mark's mind reeled. He had left the key behind in the locked room, hoping to never see it again. But now the woman was asking him to go back there, to face the horrors that lay hidden within. "I can't," Mark said, his voice barely audible. "I can't go back there." "You have to," the woman said. "The key is the only way to unlock the curse. The only way to end the darkness." Mark felt a surge of determination. He couldn't let the curse of the locked room follow him for the rest of his life. He had to face it head on, no matter how terrifying the journey might be. "Okay," Mark said, his voice firm. "I'll go back, but I need your help to get through it." The woman nodded, and together they set off towards the cursed house, their hearts heavy with fear and determination. They knew that the journey would be difficult, but they were determined to unlock the secrets of the locked room and put the darkness to rest once and for all. Will Mark and the woman be able to find the key and unlock the curse? What other horrors might be waiting for them inside the locked room? Will Mark be able to overcome his fears and confront the darkness that has been haunting him? Will the woman's true intentions be revealed? Can she be trusted? Will Mark be able to finally leave the curse of the locked room behind and find peace? Watch next part.